Okay, let's start. We're going to talk about universal concepts and principles. No matter who you are or where you come from, whether you like it, you dislike it, you understand it, or you agree with it, everyone here is going to have to obey natural laws. There is no excusing us from natural laws and from the rules that governs our universe. It is what it is. Whether you fall off a building, you jump off a building, someone pushes you off a building, you trip off a building, it's not like, oh, you didn't know about gravity or it was an accident, oops, you float. It's not how it goes. So we're going to be talking about constants today. Not constants like your aunt, constants. We're going to be talking about constants. Overall, I believe there are two overarching reasons that any of us fail at something that we desire to succeed at. Number one is we believe things to be true that are actually false. Very often, this has to do with what you think you're capable of, your self-image, what you think you can do, how you think things work, or the anecdotal evidence and the things that have happened in your own small view of the world you think is how everything works. When we think things are true, they're actually false, we fail. And when we think things are false that are actually true, we fail. And you can put something very visual, like I said before, with gravity. If you don't believe in gravity, it doesn't matter. You believed something to be false that was actually true. And there's a lot of these things in our minds that people don't realize are some of the governing thoughts and the foundational philosophies of our mind that cause us to fail. People, as we start a team in this business, they will not model what you say. They model who you are. We impart knowledge. We teach by example and from what we believe and know to be true. And if we're going to help people go from where they are when they start to getting to the place where they have a fair and accurate understanding of the way things work that allows them to succeed, we must be very clear in who we are, what we believe, and making sure that our beliefs are on foundational truth. Because when we deny out of pride, ego, or ignorance these constants I talk about, we will fail. And we have a huge calling. We have a huge calling to make sure that we show that what we're standing on is truth, that we are making a difference in people's lives, and we are going to cause a movement, but we need to get clear that there's two things that stop growth: confusion and negative. How do we avoid confusion? Simple, consistent messaging and leadership development. It is our responsibility as leaders to build an environment that is clear and healthy. But it is your job as a leader, if you are not understanding something or confused, to seek answers and clarity. It goes both ways. So we are going to avoid and we are going to immunize ourselves against confusion by leadership development and honest conversation. And sometimes we need to ask the same question lots of times. On the second hand, we are going to make sure to avoid negative, that we are going to have a healthy culture that brings things to light. That we make sure that we're controlling our environment and we continue to build a culture that helps to raise up healthy things and not look the other way for unhealthy things. We're looking to promote a functional environment and to push out anything that's dysfunctional, which can hurt and be difficult in the short term. It's the only way we grow. You guys hear what I'm saying? Okay. Number one, the power of submission. The power of submission. Power of submission is a very similar, it's just a different word to talk about what Sia talked about, which is being coachable. It's being willing to be coached. There's some prerequisites to submission. We are being in submission to values, to principles. And our submission to people is predicated on their submission to these principles of doing what's right. It's a slippery slope. You can talk about submission. Now, I fully believe that when we're in 99% agreement, we're in 100% disagreement. We're in 99% submission, we're in 100% rebellion, because that's typically the piece that makes the difference. I mean, we're 95% the same as chimpanzees genetically. I mean, to agree with someone 95% of the time isn't taking very much. But the prerequisite is, are the people we're submitting to putting people ahead of profits? Or the people we're submitting to doing the right thing? Because that's a big question. Now, what I do know is that when we submit to healthy leadership, like Vinny and Dana, like Warren and Vanessa, Brian and Sia, Luis and Jackie, Warren and Vanessa, when we submit to healthy leadership, then we grow. And we need to understand that very often our perspectives will be different, and we will not understand the direction until we're at a different vantage point. That's why we must be willing to take coaching and be in submission. Very often our own decisions are driven by emotion, by traumas, by issues, and by short-term feelings or gain, rather than what we had said we wanted, which is a successful achievement of long-term goals. But we must be in submission to do that. Now, what needs to come before submission is there needs to be trust. We cannot be in submission where we do not trust. So here's this, everything I talk about goes two ways. We need to do things that are right that continues to build trust. But the reality is that everyone in this room has had traumas and issues going into this business. Everybody has had broken trust, and situations have happened. Here's what you must be willing to do with faith for you to ever get to the point to see if we're trustworthy, is choose to trust first. Because if you don't, you will always be looking through a jaded, warped lens of the challenges and traumas in our lives. But it is a choice for us to decide and to plant our flag to listen to somebody, which in our culture is very counterculture. It's very counterculture to not do what we want and what we feel like is right. We live in a world where people, they'll watch 1,000 trailers because everything is mediocre. So you don't even watch a movie because you can't even commit to a movie for an hour and a half. Submitting means you're choosing someone at the exclusion of everything else. It's not the power of what makes sense. It's not the power of what we want. It's not the power of our preference. It's not the power of what we think is right. It's the power of submission. One of the best examples I know of that is Mike and Dana Monaco. They will always put the team and their coach's wishes ahead of their own. And what a powerful, remarkable place to be. That's worthy of tremendous praise and admiration, in my opinion. Number 2, power of unity. The power of unity. We can never be unified unless we're first in submission. And this lack of submission and this lack of unity is something that must constantly be monitored and grown in for everyone. We can't form our standards around any one of our preferences. There is no one here that can see and look at everything that's required to be in submission and unity, because these things go hand in hand, and say, that's exactly what I would have done. Even the people making the rules, even the people setting the standards, because a standard and what we're talking about needing to be unified around transcends any one individual person. And it goes from the small things we can see, dress, what the team standard is for acting, what the team standard is for hygiene or for safety, what the team standard is for punctuality, what the team standard is for our image on social media and what we talk about and what we don't. This goes in the visible and the invisible. Being disunified in spirit and having those thoughts to be like, well, they don't understand my position. They don't understand. Well, I'm different. There is nothing more selfish and narcissistically self-centered than you insisting your problems are unique to you. As if it's never been seen before. I'm one of a kind. This has never happened before. Check yourself. We need to check ourselves against these principles. That's one of the reasons these things are they're so unpopular to talk about. Because nobody likes to be corrected and to have our edges worn down. But we all want the success, the admiration that comes from people that are dedicated to a cause, that are in submission and unified with the regime they're a part of for decades. We all want to talk about the people that commit their life to a cause and never waver, the people that are married for decades and 50 years. We want to celebrate that, but then in our own lives, we never want to make the choices to have that come to pass. What's best for the team is your best interest if you're a part of this team. The size of the preference in your life you're unwilling to change is indicative to the size of your dream, in my opinion. And that's a tough one for some people, because some people can't change a brand in their life. Some people won't change the way that they act or talk. Everyone here, you all know, I'm a lunatic. I'm not on the bell curve. I'm on that line that looks like it doesn't exist. But I'm not going to sit up here and act like a lunatic, because that's not the team standard. Now, if it was, but I personally have very deep ideological beliefs that I roll over and think about, and I roll over and think about. And my preferences are very often growths of my beliefs. But my personal beliefs and preferences never, ever, ever trump my friendship and the unity of the team. Because what we're doing here isn't about any one person. It's about all of us and the impact in millions of people's lives. It's about your financial future. What things are you willing to do that put you out of unity to hurt someone else? Because I'm not willing to do any of them. I want to do them. I need to be reminded why I'm doing it, but I'm not. Out of unity to hurt someone else, because I'm not willing to do any of them. I want to do them. I need to be reminded why I'm doing it, but I'm not going to do them. You with me? Okay. Now, those two of the Magic 7, that has to do with the team standards. That's why they're first. Those are the most broken, because they're outside of your control and they're outside of your desires. They're outside of everything having to do with an individualistic preference. Those are team standards. Number 3, we're going to start going into what are your individual actions. Your individual actions start with the power of the spoken word. The power of the spoken word. What we say comes to life. The objective reality is not objective. We color the world by the words we speak. You will experience emotions, pain, happiness, joy. You will experience problems that are unable to be overcome and minor inconveniences based on the power of what you say. It is so easy to just let things come out and to not monitor the words we're using. It's so easy. It's so easy. I will say something. I find that people are very often too offended by words that they don't like versus measuring the words they're using that's affecting their life. I think people get confused. Now, I'm not going to sit here and start cursing, but what are the words you're saying? Because very often the people worried about other people cursing are the people that are cursing everyone and everything in their path with their own words. Be careful. Be careful to focus on make sure what matters most. Make sure you focus on, don't get lost in the weeds of what doesn't matter or isn't important for the thing that's ultimately important. But you need to program your mind. We must override the belief structure of our mind. Most people grow up in dysfunctional, poverty-stricken, traumatized backgrounds. And the talk track and the beliefs that you have that served you in trying to help protect you from traumas and issues are now protecting you from success because it's dysfunction. Anytime someone does something or says something a certain way, or it reveals who they are, and you wonder, why would someone do something so self-destructive? Just try to think about when did that make sense in their life? Because there was a time it made sense and it worked. But are we saying that I'm going out today, I have a goal? Are you resetting your goals? Because here's what everyone does. They do the dream boards. They get really set, and they have all their goals. They draw their circles in the mirror. Most people start with a base level of, I'm going to be in submission and listen. And then what happens is those people quit, or you don't hit that goal. And then people then become afraid of setting goals. If what you're speaking doesn't improve and get better, then you're never going to accomplish the things that you're hoping to accomplish. We must claim what we want. Look at the way people that overcome things speak and accomplish things. We need to claim that we are together going to tens of thousands of people in the next several years. We are breaking platinums. We have more people joining than ever before. You guys need to clap louder for yourselves. Loud for yourself. The words we speak will color our emotions. When you say something makes you miserable or depressed, that's going to be a very different sentiment to something being slightly inconvenient or undesired. Monitor your words. Here's an interesting thing. I find the people that have the most emotional control monitor their words the most first, because their words indicate their emotions. People that are absolutely emotionally out of control are verbally out of control, and the words came before the emotions. It's important. Everyone here, it's not magic. It's physics. It's the reality of things. What we say will come to pass, and the level at which you're willing to claim and speak always will indicate your level of success. It will always indicate your level of accomplishment. It will always indicate your level of joy and everything else in your life that you want. It's determined by the tenor of your words. Have you chosen the words you're speaking? Have you written affirmations for the different areas of your life? Do you know what you're even trying to have come to pass in your life? Because here's the dangerous thing with words. They always come to pass whether you choose it or not. Taking a little while to choose ahead of time what we want to have accomplished, and then specifically choosing the words and the vision that we have will massively impact our results. That's totally under your control. And I find that the most likely thing that will prevent you from being in submission is pride. The most likely thing that will prevent you from being in unity is pride. The most likely thing that will prevent you from using the spoken word is pride. It's pride. Sometimes it's pride masquerading as, you being better than other people, which is really just you feeling like you're not as good as other people. Sometimes it's pride in you being woe is me, but it almost always comes back to pride. Pride in our lives causes so much blindness that we can't even hear the words and see the things that we need to see in our life. They cause deafness and blindness of our spirits when we have pride. Have you ever spoken to someone and said, man, you're coaching someone or you've seen someone in your family and you're like, this is hurting you. Why are you doing this? And they cannot and will not listen or see? It's pride. It's pride. We need to claim and we need to speak faith. We need to speak life. We need to speak growth. We need to uplift each other. We need to do what Vinnie Pappalardo makes sure he does, which is uplifting and speaking words of life to every person, every moment of every day. To be optimistic and expecting the best in the sight of the worst. In the worst situations, we need to control our environments, our attitudes, and help build one another up with intentional use of power of the spoken word. You need to be looking for people that are succeeding and telling them how much you believe in them. You need to be talking to new people and reminding them of how great they are and giving them that power by feeding their spirit. Are you doing that for yourself, for your team, for your cross line, for your upline, and for your communities? Vital. This is a huge one. Absolutely vital. You guys hearing me? You guys with me? You smelling what I'm cooking? Picking up what I'm putting down? Wearing what I'm knitting? Number 4, attitude. Your words are going to color your attitude. We don't get what we want. We get what we expect. Your perspective on situations determine the ability to overcome a problem, determine the depth of joy and appreciation and gratitude, determine the joy in your life overall. But our attitude of what we're expecting to come out of something is going to be one of the biggest things. I'd say currently that that's probably one of the most likely things to hold the team back. Because people start to gain their expectations and attitudes from everyone else around them. And it creates a baseline mediocrity. It's one of the reasons I have always found, if you look, the people that have the massive growth are typically a little bit further from the team. We can talk about leadership development. I just think it's because they don't have a barometer to measure themselves against. We need to have such unbelievably powerful, convicted attitudes, knowing who we are, where we're going, and what we're doing. It does not matter if someone doesn't understand. They are not going to understand. People are going to write negative blogs about what we do. They're going to misunderstand your intentions. They're going to judge. It doesn't matter. If you do anything, you're going to have people that have never met you sing your praises and people that have never met you say how terrible you are if you're going to do anything. But we need to control our attitude to every day. You go out and you know that you're going to meet the right people. You're going to find the right people in your life, that you are going to connect with the right people. You are going to find people that are hungry, humble, smart, and appreciative, the way C was saying. You're going to find people praying for an opportunity, that are looking and seeking and wondering. And you're going to know that sometimes you say hello to someone and they ignore you because they're having a bad day. And your attitude stays the same, because every time you need to be at a 10 of expectancy. Every time you do a meeting, every time you wake up, every time you come to a team meeting, every time you go out in contact, and you need to have a level 10 expectancy that this is so serious because this is going to be a door that opens up. But when it doesn't, you need to know that the next time is going to be the time, because here's what you know for sure. Watch. Every time you expect that, you're wrong sometimes. But every time you don't expect that, you're right. That's the problem. That's the problem with it. You have a bad attitude, you're right. You have a good attitude, you're wrong half the time, right half the time. But you never have anything good happen. What you put into your mind is going to be what comes out in your life. It's very easy to know what your attitude looks like. What are you thinking about and talking about? You're talking about traumas, issues, challenges, dysfunction. It's enough to live in the dysfunction. Let's not focus on and talk about it. Let's focus on our future. Let's look for uplifting stories of people that have overcome and moved past. Are you listening and studying everything? Are you absorbing and making sure that you're learning from Bill Hawkins and Dave and Chris and DeSalt? Are you on top of listening to Jody and Kathy and Brad and Julie Duncan and Danny Renata Snipes and Larry and Pam Winters? Are you studying what is on there to control your attitude? I don't care who you are. If you think your baseline attitude is positive, you've done a whole bunch of hygiene and work that's indicating and creating that positive attitude. So yes, it's become natural because of what you do, but everybody's at a baseline of negative. And some people are like, well, I'm not emotional, moody. For the people that don't like the word negative, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, sometimes. You need to anchor your thoughts and your mind in adding positive, fulfilling, uplifting information. You need to curate what goes into your mind. This way you have the right things come out. You need to put yourself around healthy association, people that have tremendous visions and goals and dreams. You need to put yourself around people that are moving forward. We need to make sure, show me your habits, I'll show you your attitude. You need to even be careful of what you do for recreation to make sure. Because what we do for recreation can negatively impact our attitude. You think what you watch doesn't affect your mindset? You're lying to yourself. No one's susceptible. No one is invincible to what goes into their mind. Number 5, work ethic. Work ethic. This is the metric that most people miss. Because it's easy to have a good attitude at the meeting. It's easy to have a good attitude in our life. It's not as easy to have a good attitude when you're working hard learning something. Because it takes work. It's what separates the masters from the novices. Novices show up once in a while and they do it just enough for it to be fun. And when it's no longer fun, they stop doing it. People that master something, people that become experts in something, they show up and they show up and they show up and they show up when they don't want to and they don't like it and they don't want to and they don't like it and it's terrible and it's not fun and it hurts and it's painful and it's difficult and they keep showing up, and that's how you achieve a level of mastery. That's how you achieve any level of expertise in any industry, any endeavor, and any skill. You can't be counting your price. We must be willing to pay a price. Now, I'm not saying that we do things ridiculously. But what I'm saying is if we sow, we will reap. We must give freely. We're looking to serve people. And when you look for the service of humanity, you look to serve other people, then it's never a loss. It's only when you're trying to get something for yourself. Now, with work ethic, we need to make sure that we are doing the work necessary to build the habits first. First, we honor our personal habits. Then we move into the skill of building the ability to network, which is a 90-day core run. A 90-day core run is a skill-building season. It's you doing it to learn it. Eventually, you got to get to the point where you're getting a result. You're doing 10 meet and greets a month from the work you're doing, core. But you can't go core unless you do enough work in a 90-day core run. If you're not making enough people aware who's available, you don't know who the right people are to make who's aware who's available. It's sometimes in your business, making anyone aware is healthy. And sometimes in your business, it's really only the right people. Are we chasing recognition? Are we chasing edification? But work ethic, we must be willing to do. Joe Markowitz said that. We can't count the price. You can't plant a seed and then dig it up and then plant a seed and then dig it up and then plant a seed and then dig it up and then plant a seed and then dig it up. It doesn't work. You're going to need to go a few years on faith. How many people here, don't raise your hands, but how many people here can say that I did everything they said to do at the frequency and the commitment level that they said to do it, with the attitude they said I had to do it with for 2 years? We should never question why it hasn't worked for us. We should question why we haven't done the things we said we're going to do. And it's very easy to shift the blame to the business. Must be Amway. Can't be my emotional traumas and lack of willingness to be coached. Must be Amway. It can't be my unwillingness to talk to anyone that's not 17 levels below my level of ambition with no job and no car. Must be that Amway doesn't work. Shots fired. Do more in a day than most people do in a week? Well, here's what everyone does. It's just like, and we've done it. It's just like, they've done so much work, I don't even know if I could even do that. But no one questions why. Because they work their guts out. Because you're driven by purpose and meaning. And they know why they're doing it. If we want to have 10 times the results, we just need to do 10 times more work. Now, that's not the only part of the equation. I believe we're looking to build community, not kill each other in competition. But other people's success should help us believe more in our ability to succeed and push us to being better as iron sharpens iron. We should be helping one another create better, but not competing against other people. Comparison's a mask of insecurity rooted in pride. We're not looking to compare ourselves. We need to know that every situation, all this work we're doing, isn't a litany of failures. It's experience and growth in our character. It's who not to talk to and what not to do and how to become, and it's our character building and our testing and our patience and our faith. We must look at things from a healthy perspective, not an unhealthy one. Those are your individual actions. Those are things totally within your control. You do them. They're about you. Some people have no problem with the I do my things, and they really struggle with the team standards in the next part, which is your heart and the spirit of things. They're like, I could do everything. Next one, 6, is having a big dream. Having a big dream. Your dream needs to be bigger than your immediate needs, and it needs to be bigger than you. There is no dream big enough that's just for you. And sometimes, just to be clear, we have different preferences and our dreams are different. But don't ever be fooled that someone that succeeds, specifically here, doesn't have a massive dream and a massive goal. We need to have huge dreams, and you need to get around whatever it is for you. Whatever it is for you. There is no wrong answer. Here's the most important core. Your dream needs to be bigger than you. Whose lives are going to be touched? Who are you going to impact? Who are the people that you are going to bring along because of what you're doing? Does your dream, do you think about the generations that come after you, your community? Do we think about how the impact of what we do now can save people's lives on the other side of the world? Between the medical advancements that can be generated from our grants and our money, between the immediate needs of people starving or needing clean water in different places in the world that come from a place of poverty? Do you think about the impact you can make in the academics and the arts? Do you think about what your life could be in the experiences you could create for your family? I might not be crazy about physical things, but we want to go to every country in the world. We love culture. We love people. I want to go to every Irish pub in the whole world. I like people singing and drinking. What's your dream? You have to have a dream. Our dream, and I could tell you organizationally, the leadership, our dream is to be able to create such a positive reputation for the network marketing industry because we put people ahead of profits, because we help serve people. An industry that was so not perfect, but focused on people's needs and people having better lives. The best apps, the best meetings, the best conferences, the best speakers, the best philosophy, the best teaching, the most healthy emotional health that people... This is a premium, prestigious type of an organization where people go through school and they say, I want to be one of the leading people. That's what they're training for. That's what our vision is, to impact tens of millions of people's lives around the world. But what is your dream? Our dreams are very often indicated by the size of life we had prior to getting here. Most people, like I said, they grow up in trauma and they grow up in poverty. When we grow up in poverty and with traumas, we don't even know what real dreams can look like because all we've experienced is nightmares. It's why people are afraid of marriage or afraid of success or afraid of goals or afraid of money. Most people are more afraid of success than they are of failure. We need to have a huge dream. Huge dream. Number 7, we need to love one another. And we need a love that covers over each other's challenges, indiscretions, issues. We need to forgive one another. We need to uplift one another. We need to look at each other as people, as men and women, and brothers and sisters, and part of a family. We need to treat people with the utmost respect and realize that they are the center of a universe. They're a daughter or a son. They're a mom or a dad. They're a sister or a brother. They have their own unique challenges and issues and struggles that they need to overcome. But we need to look and realize and love one another as we'd want to be loved. When people that don't do this aren't wrong. We all have different paths. It is okay for you to say that people are making decisions based on false information, or to pray for people because they've been deceived. But that is different than someone having a different path. No one ever got ahead or made friends by putting other people and groups down. Nobody. We need to love one another. We need to look to serve people and to help people. I think it's vitally important that you look to be friends with someone and to serve someone first and foremost above all else. If you're doing a meeting to launch somebody, I don't think you do. If you're doing a meeting to serve someone, like Sia said, to be able to help add value to somebody, then I think we have a chance to be able to sponsor and launch somebody. Are you looking for what's best for them or what's best for you? Your work efforts should be indicated by the 90-day core run and you guys hitting different levels. But when you sit down across from another human being, their needs and goals and what's best for them should be top of your mind, not you hitting a goal, not you launching a person. We need to love people, and we need to really, truly spend the time to learn how to love people. And what you'll find is everyone should go through these 7 things and rank yourself from 1 to 10. And you'll find that there's everyone here has something they're really strong at and something that they're really weak at. And they're usually on opposite ends of the spectrum. But we need all of it. And if you're struggling in one of these 7 areas, you need to find someone who's strong and you need to ask what they do. The number one thing that prevents us from succeeding is pride. It's lack of forgiveness amongst one another. Here's the good news. Nobody can stop us. No force other than us. Other than us not being unified together. We've never been more unified and together. We've never been more unified as a team. But we need to love each other. And here's what loving looks like. Loving is telling the thing they need to hear that's true, not placating and people-pleasing people. Loving is not doing things for other people. It's helping teach them to do it for themselves. Loving is we're talking about the kind of love where we parent, not enable, not overlook. Sometimes the most loving thing to do is give someone consequences because they have broken the standards that we have as a team. So I want to be clear. When I say love, I mean love and uplift. And I mean love and forgive. But I mean love people and see the best in them. See their God-given destiny and who they can become, and do not allow them or enable them to settle for less. I think that's all I got to say. So, in closing, we're going to be the number one celebrated organization in the world. We are going to continue to make a difference because we are going to all hold ourselves to standards that every single day are hard to hold ourselves to. We're going to hold each other and ourselves to standards in a way that creates any type of movement. I believe everyone here is a revolutionary. I believe we have an organization of people that are creating fundamental change in the fabric of your families and your cultures, breaking generational curses that have been there. I believe that every single person here, I don't think we should be seeking to have our name in history, capital H. That may or may not happen. I think you're seeking to have your name known in history, lower h, your family, your friends, your community, and your industry. That you're someone that made a difference, you're someone that raised the standards, you're someone that helped empower other people to be better, to go farther, and do more than they ever thought. And we need to grow. We need to honor Vinny and Dana. We need to honor the people that have sacrificed and risked so much for everyone here. We love you so much. Keep up the great work.
This is a copyrighted program of The Collective, powered by Marker Man Productions.